Welcome back to my vessel of light. Tonight begins with a notification no one expects. Her phone saved a voice note she never spoke, and the message inside pointed toward a mystery shaped like attention and quiet courage. Kira Solis heard the chime while unlocking her apartment. The screen showed a new recording saved 5 minutes earlier. Duration 43 seconds, no caller, no microphone icon used. Only her name listed as the speaker. She pressed play and heard her own voice, calm and slower than usual, saying there is rain coming though the sky looks clear. Take the blue umbrella, let the elevator pass once, then choose the stairs. Kira frowned and looked through the peephole at a bright evening. No clouds, warm air, small traffic hum. She almost deleted the file, then placed the blue umbrella by the door, half amused and half unsettled. Downstairs, the elevator arrived crowded and noisy. She waved it on and began the stairs. Midway, she heard a quick metallic shudder above, then saw the lights flicker. The elevator stalled. Someone inside shouted and then went silent. Outside, thunder rolled from a horizon that had looked harmless moments ago. Wind gathered its first ideas. Rain came fast, as if decisions had already been made elsewhere. The umbrella caught the first heavy drops and held. Back upstairs, she replayed the voice note and listened for edits or stutters. It sounded like a single take, the tone patient, the pacing deliberate. She checked battery usage and app history. Everything normal, nothing explained. The next morning, another note appeared at 8:12. Her voice again, take the old notebook to work. Page 19 wants attention. Leave 10 minutes early to avoid the bus crowd that feels like a weather front. She opened the old notebook and remembered page 19, a sketch of a habit she kept postponing, water before screens, light before conclusions. She smiled, though she did not remember writing the margin note about kindness before speed. She left early and passed the bus stop as 2 crowded buses arrived. Riders pressed politely yet urgently. The street felt heavy with friction. She walked past and reached the office with a breathing pattern that felt newly generous. At lunch, she told her friend Jonah about the notes. Jonah believed in practical mysteries. He said sometimes our devices are mirrors. Sometimes they're metronomes. Listen while it helps, then return to ordinary pace without needing a trick. In the afternoon, a third file appeared. This time at 3:11, the message was simple. Step outside for 5 minutes and notice the way the light sits on the leaves. Then return and send the email you keep avoiding. She obeyed exactly and felt the tiny wind reset her shoulders. The email sent easily after, as if delay had been a heavier weight than content. She thanked the note silently and pretended not to thank a phone. That week, the recordings continued, always short, always clear, never dramatic. They offered instructions about timing and small choices. Leave your coat at the chair to remember the walk. Carry water, answer gently, choose the second checkout line. Each suggestion worked like a hinge. Doors swung easier. No grand revelations. Only accurate nudges that kept real life from bruising. Kira started wondering about authorship. If not her, then who? If herself, then when? On Thursday night, a note arrived while she showered. Her voice said, sit near the window and listen for a song you forgot you loved. When it arrives, do not chase meaning. Allow belonging to happen without debate. She sat and heard a neighbor practice guitar 2 floors down. An old melody opened inside her chest, like a drawer that had been stuck gently for years. Something unjammed without tools, only time and listening required. She began to keep a simple log: time received, length, instruction, result. The list looked like an itinerary for attention, just enough structure to notice patterns. The timestamps clustered around early morning and late evening. Saturday morning, a longer note arrived. She heard scrape of her chair before the words began. Take the photo in the second drawer and meet yourself at the park bench near the fountain at 11. Bring water. The second drawer held a photo of her as a child holding a paper kite. She reached the park exactly at 11 and sat. Sun settled kindly on stone. A breeze carried conversations without stealing them. An older woman sat at the far end and nodded, not recognition, respect. Kira held the photo and felt the quiet shift. The fountain kept its sentence steady. A small dog insisted on dignity near pigeons. Nothing dramatic happened. That was the point. The appointment mattered more than a reveal. On the way home, she understood the note had arranged a moment sized for her attention to return at a speed that would last. That evening, she noticed a pattern hidden in the file names. Each began with 3 letters that matched the calendar week, then numbers that mirrored the clock when she usually breathed best. She laughed at the thought of scheduled mercy. On Monday, the instructions asked her to prepare a one-kind reply to a message she had avoided for months. The reply took 3 sentences, no performance. The relief was not loud. It was present and trustworthy. Jonah suggested she bring the phone to a technician. She did. Diagnostics returned normal. No background apps misbehaving. The tech joked kindly that sometimes phones learn their owners and create shortcuts that look like magic if you squint. She walked home thinking about fear of change. How often she pretended change required a new identity. The notes taught her a slower truth. Change often requires a new cadence, not a replacement character with different shoes. Midweek, a note arrived that felt different. Her voice sounded more tired and also more sure. It said, "You will want to cancel the plan for tonight. Keep it anyway. The version of you who goes will breathe easier tomorrow." She kept the plan and joined friends at a small gallery opening, nothing grand. Yet the room held a painting of waves that looked like patience practicing. She stood there longer than anyone and left with steadier lungs. The next day, a note advised her to bring a book and choose a later train. She did, and watched the earlier train leave crowded and delayed. The later one arrived on time with seats like understanding available to anyone who asked. Kira began to ask who was speaking through me, and for me, the answer that felt true was not a stranger. Not an algorithm, not a ghost, but a version of herself that trusts time. One night, she placed the phone on the table and spoke into the air, not to record, only to test her courage. She said, "If you are me, thank you for borrowing my voice until I remembered its use." The phone stayed quiet, a relief. The next morning, the note returned with the simplest line. "Keep going," then a breath could be heard. The kind of breath taken before stepping into a room that once felt impossible. A small worry crept in about dependence. What would happen if the note stopped? Would she lose the rhythm? She answered herself honestly. The rhythm is already here. The notes simply made it audible enough to carry. That weekend, she decided to ignore one instruction kindly to check her own agency. The note said take the long way home. She took the shorter route and found nothing went wrong. Only a smaller view happened. Later that night, another note arrived, the tone friendly. "You can choose differently and still belong. The practice is yours. I'm here to remind. Not to replace decision. Sleep now, drink water first thing." Kira slept like dry earth receiving rain. Before dawn, she woke and felt the urge to record her own voice for the first time since this began. She opened the recorder and paused. No script, only presence. She said today, I will keep one promise and make no new vows. I will greet the day without sprinting. I will sit by the window for 5 minutes and count the trees. Then I will begin. She listened once and saved it. The files sat beside the mysterious ones without competing. Later, a new automatic note arrived. Use your own recording first, then allow mine to be a second opinion rather than a command. Kira understood then that the entire mystery had been an apprenticeship in listening. Her voice had been lent back to her in a form she could respect, edited for pace, trimmed of fear-shaped urgency. A week later, the notes grew shorter. 2 words, walk slowly. 3 words, answer with kindness. 1 word, water. She noticed that she no longer argued with brevity. Clarity helps the day feel less crowded before lunch. When a coworker asked how she seemed calmer, Kira said she had been practicing tiny appointments with herself. She did not mention the voice notes. The explanation would distract from the work, which was simply to arrive. One afternoon, the final automatic note appeared. Her voice carried warmth like evening on porches. It said, delete me after you listen. Not because I am dangerous, because you no longer need training wheels to move through your day. She listened twice, then deleted. The screen looked ordinary with only her own recent recording present. The room did not darken. The sky did not tilt. Attention remained available without technology insisting on miracle framing. That night, she met Jonah for tea and shared only the part that mattered. She said, I am practicing walking at the right speed for my lungs. Jonah raised his mug like a quiet ceremony. Later, she sat by the window and recorded 1 line for tomorrow. Begin smaller, finish kinder, rest before repair. Then she closed the app and lived. Because that was the point the entire time. If your life hands you a message that feels impossible and helpful, try answering with presence before explanation. Choose the slower train, the shorter list, the kinder reply. Let practice make your timing honest again. Thank you for being here with my vessel of light. If this story kept you company, like the video so the candle travels farther. Subscribe to my vessel of light and share one quiet practice you will keep this week.